think that's going to show up any second. There we are. We are live. Let's plug this device in. I'm not entirely ready, as you may have guessed. But yeah, good to have you along. Today I have a little still life ready to go. Might move that around a bit. Which I guess I could call the Sculptors' Reward. Oh, come on, no. Right, that's a good place for the canvas. Can we still see it? Yay! Check that out. I'll move this camera up a little bit. There you are, fingers crossed we can see what's going on. Right, I need some clean spirit and a filter for the palette camera. So exactly gone. There it is. This thing wants to turn itself around. Come on, over here. No, over here. All right then. Should be about right. Good. Put that in there and hope. Nearly. As you can see, I'm prepared once again. Let's see if I can put this in the dial. Oh, no, come on back. Make it a bit lighter. Yeah, it's a little bit lighter. It's a bit darker. Anyway, hopefully you can see what I'm seeing. Do this right. No, move it. No, there's no shine on that. Yeah, what's that have to do? Yeah, I've still got this Greek jug, which I'm going to have to return soon, so I thought I'd make the most of that. I've got this foot I made, which is a cast, which I made a plaster version of, and I have a chisel, which can represent sculpting. So yeah, a little nod to the artists who've been before. What else am I going to need? I'm going to need my box for putting rags in. I'm going to need some rags. Some spare brushes. Somehow got paint on myself already, I don't know how I did that. There you go. into your brushes, a bit of oil. I have a demo palette here. This was from my my oils class. It gives you an idea of how long it is since I've been able to paint anything. I've been fighting with technology, trying to bend it to my will for the last 2 weeks, and it's all been for nothing because other people's stuff goes wrong in the background and doesn't tell you, which makes it all pointless. So I'm going analog again, and I'm going to stay that way. Well, nice to have some folks along. I'm going to clean up the palette now and tell you about things I've got coming. Right, that. Ooh, it's kind of dried on the knife. We don't want that. Yeah, I'm not going to use any of this. That can all come up. Sure. So aren't you glad you tuned in for this? I know, I hope some people would find palette scraping in some way entertaining. I have to do this at arm's length so I don't keep sticking my head in front of the camera. I do want a fairly clean palette for this because I want some quite clean colours. I really like that blue. I'm not going to make much of the red background. It's mostly there to be dark, and it's better that it leans towards a complementary colour to the green than something harmonious or sympathetic to it, because I do want a bit of a vibration of colour there. Oh dear. Right, I'm going to have to do this properly, which means Stanley blade. Thankfully I have one to hand. So this will only take a minute. Hi Sue. Good evening, Mark. It was nice to get messages from people. Please do share your thoughts as I'm going along. I'll try and keep an eye on their messages and reply to stuff, answer questions, or attempt to answer questions and fail to, whatever the case may be. Get all this nice and clean. Ideally I'd have had another hour to do all the lighting and clean the palette and put out fresh colour and all that palaver. But you can't have everything you want, can you? Bandages. I'm very much hoping I won't need any bandages. My mother always used to give me really good advice when I was using power tools or anything sharp. She'd say, don't cut your fingers off. And I've always tried to keep that advice in mind, you know, wherever I'm working with any sharp or dangerous tools. I like to think that's the reason I'm okay. Actually, the reality is the skin on my thumbs is probably 3 times thicker than most people's from all the mishaps I've had over the years. So that and the thickness of my skull, I think, yeah, banging your head on stuff. Yes, but now, so I always try and keep that advice in mind, and you should too. It's very good advice. Think once, think twice, don't chop off your own fingers. And I must say, I'm lucky to have them all. And it is blind luck. Right, there's a lot of lumpy colour down here, which I'm going to replace. I'm not going to clean all this up now, I'm just going to put new colour in front of it. But first things first, let's squeeze out whatever goodness we can and do a bit of drawing. I might even change my mind about the size of this canvas. It's quite a small canvas, but I think it could work out okay. Means I've got to be really simple and deliberate with my marks, but I haven't got a huge area to cover. So let's have a look. Yeah, I think this is too small already. I wonder if I've got a larger canvas ready primed. It's not looking like it, if I'm honest. No, it's only a 16 by 20, and I'm not going to go that big on this. Yeah, let's work small. Let's see how that works out. I'm going to find my triangle. I like that bit at the top of the jug. There you are, this bit here, where the handle is, and that's sort of where all the action is there. I've got a nice journey across to the sort of the heel of this sculpture foot, but the top seems quite important. But artistic license, I could move that down a bit if I really have to. So I've kind of got a straight line there, roughly. And then I've got the toe and the handle. So if I go like that here, so I'll do it from my own view now. I was looking through, looking at the screen there for your benefit. So it's going to be more like that. Now, maybe I'll shrink this in a bit. Bring that in a bit there, in a bit here. So I've got other little triangles in between. It's kind of a straight line from here, front of the chisel there. Yeah, that's about as much as I can let that. I haven't got that much room this way. If I go up to the top of the foot, that's going to be all the way up here. So let's start off with that foot shape, and then we'll shrink everything down. But at least I've got a rough idea of where it goes. I'm going to put some blue in here. That's probably too much, but this is a side surface, so I can buff it back. So if I put the top of that there, down to the bottom of the chisel, then I've got that kind of shape. In the front of the chisel down here. Actually, I might go portrait with this. Now I look at it, I measure the size of the whole image. It's that high. Yeah, it's taller than it is wide. I'm going portrait. Oh. It's way too early to be committed to any particular image. Let's try that again. Let's get another brush for the brown. Haha, Graham, good to see you. Um, yeah, yes, I think you probably would. Yeah, bad influences. It's a thing to survive, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to move this jug forwards. I quite like the shadow it makes anyway. Yeah, shrinking the composition a bit. Okay, let's find a new triangle. So we've got that direction from the top of the foot to the tip of the chisel. So if I want to put the tip of the chisel there, that's going to be too big. Let's shrink all of that down a bit, bring that line in a bit. So yeah, I'm going to bring the bottom of that foot shape down there, top of it up here. So if I divide that up, do most of this by eye, to be honest. Hey. Let's have a bit of light on a brush as well, just to establish this as I go along. Only a tiny bit, it'll barely make a dent. That's why you have to be careful of white in the drawing stages, because there we are. Yeah, I'll do for that. A few negative shapes. That's going to be the edge of the thing there. Thing under here. Bit of drawing. Figure all that out as I go along. Yeah, I hope you're still playing, Graham. Is a magnificent harmonica player. Also introduced me to the term gob iron, which I've used ever since. Ironically, to annoy harmonica players. So oh, I've forgotten where I was now. Oh yeah, here we are. Let's just chuck in some more of that negative shape stuff. Yeah, quite interesting shapes, feet. We can kind of see that now. Okay, what about this jug? I might have to go for a different colour in the background. I think I'm going to have to darken it right down. So that's about level with that, which is about right, yeah. Okay, just measuring at the moment. Close one eye, squint, blow your vision, figure out what you're seeing. Don't take too long, don't rush it too much. There you are, I've got a pretty good feel for what's where now. And there's that chisel. The head of that chisel sticking out is really going to help. Also the shadow of it, that's really going to help too. Now I don't know how much of the reflected light you can see if I change that. Yeah, so I've got a polarizing filter on the front of the camera which will stop the image itself being shiny, but There you are. So you can see some of those reflection shapes. They're going to be important as I go along. There we are. Anyway, keep all that fuzzy. I don't know if I'll even do the base on the. I think I will do the base on the little foot sculpture. I think that's going to be useful. Let's shade all that in. Yeah, there's a darker bit there. Oh, hang on. The angle is points at the bottom of here. Yeah, lots of things to figure out as I go along, but put a little bit more thinner than there. This is just a drawing stage, so I'm just chucking thin paint on just to get a rough idea of what's where, what the composition is, where I am. So there's a big space in the back there. I think I need something to go in it. What's in keeping with the theme? Something Greek. or at least lending itself to an idea of pseudo-classicism, if you like. Because let's face it, a lot of our ideas about the Greeks is probably very different to the reality of actually being there. A bit like the swinging 60s. There are actually like a couple of hundred people around Portobello Road who were having a great time. Everyone else was, I don't know, doing their awful jobs. Right, there we go, something like that. And there's somewhere. Stop it. Hey. So yeah, quite a few people in today. Good to see you all. Toing and froing, having a little nose. Yeah. So I'll soften this where I'm not so sure about things, keep that vague, but the big shapes are there. So my giant head keeps looming into shot. So how am I to progress with this? Yeah, I feel like I want something in that space at the back. Maybe I'll come back to that. Maybe I could put something leaning against the back. Maybe I'll think about that in a bit. Maybe a vine or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll just make something up. That would be a first. Hardly. It's amazing how much you make up and no one notices. Well, that's part of the fun of painting, and it's a good thing about an artistic license. It's one of the few that can't be revoked for malpractice. Yeah. Okay, yeah, there's a few things bothering me about this now. The bottom of that jug should be much higher up. So that bottom edge there, that changes. So the jug's actually quite small, which I knew it would be in this particular composition. You know what, I might just do an abstract shape. I might just do the corner of a circle. Circles in the background of paintings are always an element of mystery, if you like, which I think is rather fun. maybe something like that. That's dynamic enough, isn't it? If I make the difference between that colour and the other background colour subtle, let's just sneakily add a little bit of white to that, so it's barely any different. And we'll be able to see that. But it won't show up an awful lot. Darken it a bit. It's through in there. Who knows what that is now? It's quite fun, isn't it? Right, let's mix some colours then. Going to need some more white. I'm going to need some more raw umber as well. Big squish of that. I've got some Viridian, I've got some ultramarine. I should be able to do that green with that. I've got some cadmium, I've got some alizarin. That'll be okay. A little bit of yellow ochre. Yeah, should be alright for that. So it's white, and I'm going to want to mix a good black as well. And I'm going to mix two, and I've got all the ingredients for that too. So we're all good. There it is. Let's plonk a bit of white down. Now I've only got the comments open for Facebook, so if you're on Twitch, hey, I do have a viewer on Twitch. Let's see if I can get that open up. Hello, whoever you are. Hello, viewer. That's nice. Or YouTube again. Let me see if I can get all this open. There we are. No viewers as far as I can tell on that, so that's alright. Yeah, so do leave any comments or thoughts or questions. Always appreciate that. I'm going to keep this simple, this mixing today. So let's make a background colour, nice big solid background colour. I'm going to start off with raw umber, which I already had there. I'm going to chuck some alizarin in it, because I want it to be cool and distant. And so my darks are going to be warm darks today. Let's do one with a bit of white in, just a bit. Darken that down, chuck a bit more alizarin in there. That is quite a nice background colour actually. And I think it's sufficiently dark as well. Maybe a little bit darker. Yeah. What else am I going to need? I'm going to need that green colour. bluey green colour. None of that gets too dark. So let's have some Viridian, seeing as I'm spoiling myself. Pop some blue in there as well. That's quite hard to see. That's about right for the shadow. Then greener and a bit yellower for the light bits. Let's put that there. Have a bit of that. Let's pop a little bit of yellow in there. How much? Not much. A bit more than that. Okay, now we're talking. And I will mix a darker version of that as well, but I'm going to use the black I've mixed, I think. We've got a similar issue with that cast. Let's get a bit of yellow ochre, just because I'm going to have to soften this white down. Bit of raw umber as well, and a tiny dab of blue. There you are. That's pretty much my white. If I make the darkest colour that goes, it's about the same tone as this, but just more neutral. Let's make a little black here. Let's just take a bit of that and lighten it up over here until it's about the same tone as that red. It's a bit too light now. Oh, I don't know, maybe that's pretty close. Yeah, pretty close. A little bit darker. Okay, and somewhere in between there's a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of this. Mix them all together, see what you get. Well, it's a start. Yeah, and I'll go for a really dense black later on. And I'll do the chisel last. Let's pile these on really quickly. See what happens. Big brush. I'm going to go with that background colour first. I'm going to use a tiny bit of thinners. When that evaporates, I'll be left with paint as thick and sticky as when I mixed it originally. So about in the middle when I have a cup of tea. Oh god, that's too thin now. I have to mix more of this. Looks a lot redder on the palette, but once it's blocked in, I should get a pretty good idea of how well it's doing its job. Yeah, I thinned that way too much. Let's make a new version, take a bit of that black as well. Mix it out with what's on the brush. chuck that on. That can actually just go everywhere. I'll do the darker bits later on. Yeah, don't worry about details, not important right now. Yeah, that jug's going to move right across. Got to make a bit more room for that. Yes, there's lots of things I'm not entirely sure where they go right now. That's okay. Don't need to worry about it too much. As long as I get a basic covering on. I can fine tune that later on. I'm going to work this into here as well. On either side. A bit of a variation. There. That's good. Fairly happy with that. Cracking. And what else are we going to do? Oh yeah, I've got my shadow side of the foot, which is going to go in here and in here, sort of that sort of shape. That's in the wrong place. So I guess this is a good time for a slightly more fine-tuned drawing. May as well get it done now. Yeah, move that up. So I have got that kind of contrast going in there. Yeah, and in here. I can warm that up a bit later on, I think. There's a darker one, which again I'm going to make a bit browner there. Let's put a bit in here as well. Definitely a warmer tone. This is a real effort to just paint what I see at this stage. Not start making things up. And again, I have to remember these are very subtle tones in here. Once the light's in, it'll make sense of everything. Okay. Let's put some of those lights in. Again, this is just a very quick, sort of rough ground layer. That's pretty straight there. Maybe I'll go against that line a bit. There. And what else? maybe I'll go for it, make a slightly lighter version of this, just for that little bit at the back. Okay, I'm not going to clean the brush, I'm just going to go ahead and put the light on for this jug, because that's what I can see in relation to this. That's going to go here, and here, and here. Where else? Sort of there. Hey. That's working. Let's do the dark one. I'm sure this is going to be dark enough, but we'll get a rough idea of it. Work a bit of it into there, a bit into here. Okay. Yeah. Let's pick up a load of that brown and make a whole new blue. Let's put it over here. So there's my shadows. Again, I keep wanting to move the base of it down. It doesn't go that far down. This is going to have to move up. As is that. About in here. Yeah, it's a bit more in there. I'll put some of that shadow in here. There's going to be some stronger colour in there as well. And we're back to my dark brown again, aren't we? That's for the sake of consistency. There's a bit there. There's a little bit there. And then I'm going to need a lighter orange. Let's go back to that yellow ochre. So I'll leave room for the real lights later on. Smaller brush, I think. That's an interesting shape, that one. So yeah, that's gone too dark now. Sorry, too light, too white. There we are. I'm going to use a little bit of that for the handle of the chisel as well. There's the light around the edge of it. Okay, that's sort of a rough blocking in. I'm going to use some of that blue as well for the actual chisel itself. Lighten it up a bit at the end with that, with a bit of extra blue on it. Oh, what a privilege. That's the cat doing his famous hairball trick. Thanks. Better? Good. Yeah, no, keep going. It's fine. Oh. Well, I'd apologise for him, but he's not in the least bit embarrassed, so I don't know why I'd bother. Okay, let's fine tune some of this drawing. That's going to have to come in. I like the strong colour in there, I think that's quite fun, but it's not exactly right. Got this background colour which is going to change the shape of that. It's also going to change the shape of this a bit and bring the base up. That's okay. This darker dark, I'm going to make that bluer. Let's borrow a little bit of that blue for the reflection. Be greener. Okay, I'm fine tuning already. This is already going into the sort of that top layer of painting now. Might as well just go with it. That colour seemed so dark when I was putting it on before. It doesn't now. Okay, let's move this in. Now this is a very peculiar jug because it's made wider on one side by the handle, so actually this edge sticks out further, so the middle is about here. So if I were to make that symmetrical, yeah, same kind of thing over here. It's near enough symmetrical, isn't it? I'm going to need some thicker paint. A few of the darker shapes under here. I'm using my warm black for that. Yeah, and that denser black can come in afterwards. Work a bit of that into there, a little bit into there. A little bit into here. Is that enough? That heel needs to be higher up. I just have to remember that. I haven't got it on the brush right now. Although I'm not too far off. Yeah, so the paint's starting to thin now, and that's not what I want. Hey, it's been half an hour already. But there's the basics in already, so that's not so bad. bring some of that green across. So again, yeah, no, these marks are getting too thin. Yeah, and I wasn't as far off with this shape as I thought. Right. Let's put some extra colour in that gap there. Yeah, it needs to be much darker. But to begin with, that's the basics. So I can be okay with that, I think. I'm going to clean my brushes now. And I'll remix some of this paint, make it a bit thicker in places. Especially the background colours. And I'll start pasting it on in much larger quantities, which is going to be fun. Ooh. I need to stop and stretch for a minute. I don't know about you. So I don't know what you're doing at home in your lockdown. I'm presuming you're doing something other than just watching this. So do share. You know, if you've got Joe Wicks on the other screen and you're doing star jumps, any excuse to stop and let me know. Need to step back from that for a second, I think. Oh God, that's dull. Oh no, we are an hour in. Right, well I'm going to make a cup of tea. I'm going to come back and I'm going to try and fix this and all its disastrousness. But I've got a basic ground on, so that should give me some context to work into. Yeah, and yeah, let me know what you're doing. I'd be interested to know. Oh, we're up to 8. Maybe I should just keep going before everybody leaves. I know this does tend to go on a little bit late for a lot of people, so I'm going to make this back. I'm going to make everything stronger and more intense. Let's put double the alizarin into that. Because it's already got that neutral to mix into. Let's see how it does. All right. That's too pink, isn't it? Ooh, will I get away with it? No, it definitely needs to be darker. I'm going to put a bit of viridian in there. Neutralise it down. This is the thing about not cleaning your palette properly, is you end up with lumps in the paint. I know some painters like that, but it bothers me. Where else? A bit in here. Bit dark, bit of green. Let's see how that does. A little dent there, I quite like that. And then another little dent, and it goes all the way down to there. Same with this, get a bit redder here. Get off. Yeah, little concentrating moment. Yes, it does, Matt. Reading up on Google Tag Manager and Analytics does count. You'll be pleased to know I've managed to put the code back into my website, so that's working again now. Now I just have to know how everything works. Matt has kindly offered to help me try and understand anything about all the things that are now required to not live in complete isolation, detached from the world. So I do my live streams, and I appreciate people coming along and joining in and doing their things. But you can end up very much sort of disconnected, just in the normal artist lifestyle. It's you and your easel and whatever it is you're doing. And actually, there's a whole world out there ready to pretend they were interested after you die. So thought I might try and like get in on that while I'm still breathing. Right. That's fairly solid marks. Okay, I'm alright with that. More red at the bottom. Turn that up. So yeah, I'm quite liking turning up the colour. I think that's going to be effective. That's some improvement with the background anyway. Let's put that colour up here. And you know what, I do need to break it up, and I'm going to do that with a bit of green. Let's do some broken colour like that. Let's get them working together. Because they're opposite colours, complementaries if you like, they'll vibrate against each other a little bit, give it a bit of a sense of movement. Do a darker version in here. A bit of that in there as well. Back to that green, the reflection. That's too bright. What about here? That's a bit more like it. It's interesting what can look completely the wrong colour on the palette can be the right colour when it hits the canvas, including up here. That all has to get darker, and muddier and gloomier. The rest of it can kind of stay the same. It all looks the same tone to me. I don't know why that isn't working. No, can't actually see the screen there. See if there's some shine on that canvas. No, not really, not much. Right, so my creamy colour in there is definitely darker. Make it a bit yellower. And here it's a bit yellower. It is under there anyway. In here. Yeah, and a little bit in there. Where's that stretch across to? Okay, that's like that. And it's redder in here, and there's a particular edge to that. Yeah, starting to find that now. little creases. That's pinker. And here. And across there. Right, let's make a really bright orange for this the lip of this jug. Okay, smaller brush. Let's do the darker orange. It's quite brown. I wonder if this brush is going to hold its shape. Weirdly, it kind of is. That's much redder in there. And similarly in here. Where else? Right. Yeah, that's the colour to go on the inside of that, that's okay. Again, more orange. Yeah, it's going to need to get lighter. It's quite a balancing act, this. Right here. No, it's not taking anymore. Now if I do this right, it says doing it wrong. Alright, that is a lost edge, so I'm not bothered about that. That should be higher up. An extra bit of light around there. Let's do that, a single little slab of paint. Now, by the time you've had your 5th go at it, it doesn't really work anymore. Keep it simple. Okay. Where's my dark? Here it is. There's a big, rich dark with a whole load of red in it. I'll pop that over here. And that's this shape here. There's some reflections. And we'll get onto those. Under there, under there, a bit here. Right, which means my darker orange is going to go here. Yeah. It's going to go here. There's a darker one on the inside. Once those highlights are on, it should make sense of it. I've done it too low down, but oh well, as long as it's convincing in itself. I'm going to borrow some of those colours for in here. No, that's not dark enough. That's a real surprise actually, just how dark it is inside this handle. Redder. So I want it to feel like the sculptor has just sort of put their chisel down, wandered off with their glass of, I don't know, ouzo or whatever it would be, a little bit lighter. I want the handle to feel warm, like it's just been rested. Sneak a bit of blue in there, make it join up. Same under here. Now it's starting to look chisel-y to me. A little bit. A little bit the edge there. A little bit of a blade. And then a little bit darker at the top. Okay. Now when I start to lighten that, I should make a bit more sense. Yeah. There we are. Okay. Go for some yellow and some light, bring that around here. Hey, that's quite pleasing at this point. Some light falling on the handle over there. Let's drag that across a bit. Alright, the handle and the actual chisel are not aligned. It's just a disaster. Okay, I'll just redo some marks. If that goes down there, then this little triangle goes here. That edge goes in that direction. And those little highlights go along here. Let's go back in with some dark. Put some blue in it. Great. Another grey ochre of that handle coming around over here. That's a bit better. I'll put some of those lights back on now. Just there. Smashing. Okay, I've got this pinky colour which I want to turn up a little bit and bring into here some of these lights to sort of bring out that foot and the toes. That brush is awful. Let's go with a better brush. I was saying, oh yes, it's a slightly pinky colour. It kind of goes up here as well. Bit more peachy than that actually. It's quite fun turning up the colour in the shadows. There's some around there as well. And so these little creases on the foot where it sort of crumples because of its angle, they're quite fun to put in. And we've got it gets greener at the back. There's that reflected colour up here. Yep, and we're back to that peachy pinky one. Just lifting that area there. Soften the bottom of that. Okay. Right, let's go for some harder lights then. Let's go back to my green of my pot. If I brighten up some of those, the strength of some of those lights in here, especially just at the edge on the top of that handle, actually down the side of the handle as well. And to the edges of the pot, underneath where that highlight's going to go. Keep the colour saturation quite high. Yeah, that starts to put it into contrast now, into context. I was going to say contrast. What am I talking about? Oh, while that's on there, actually, that will do quite nicely for the reflected colour of the cast. Actually, that's brighter than the that's brighter than the actual cast itself. So clearly I need to brighten that up too. So let's go ahead and do very light highlights for the jug, which are going to be here and here and here. A little bit there. Anywhere else? Yeah, that'll do for that. Use a bit of that slightly brighter bluey colour. That was for the tip of the chisel. Bring a bit into here as well. A little bit on the handle. And then bright yellowy lights, I guess. I'll pick a load of white up there. Makes a lighter version of all of this. I've still got one more to go before I get to bright white with this, so let's put some of that in here and here. Make that nice edge. Let's make an edge over there as well. Letting the brush do the work here. Work into there a little bit, yeah. So yeah, carrying this light across in places, it's quite fun to do. Actually, it will do for the highlight on the front edge of that chisel. And there's little bits on the, what do you call that, ferrule, something like that. Oh, some of these reflected lights that I didn't get in earlier. There's one. There's another. Bit cheeky. No, I'll leave that. And then the bright whites. And then the dark blacks, and then I'm done, he says. On the brush, some highlights there, another one there, a nice little line of them just down the spout. That I've got to be careful with. Good. No, that's going to have to be an actual little blob of white on that handle there. And yeah, that's pretty much done. That reflection colour of the light here has to be darker. I'll take that in. Get some of that shadow colour in as well. It's a nice sharp dark edge on this chisel, just here. I rested my hand, I don't know why I did that. It doesn't generally make things any better. Right, dark darks. Let's get some alizarin and some viridian. That's well cheeky. Mix it on the red side, but it's pretty much mixing it black. It ends up coming out as a weird sort of purpley colour actually. Let's have some of that. Let's put some in here. No, not enough. Let's have some under there. Let's have a little bit under there. And in there. Yeah. Cheeky little bit under here. Will that do? Well, I haven't done the jug perfectly, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close to what I want. You know what, I can improve that, so I think I will. There's the extra bit of dark there. Sneak a little bit in here. I think I can do this whilst also turning the colour up a bit. Here. That's going to come in. That's going to come in. yeah, that'll do for that. Yeah, I think I'll let that go. There's little things, very little things, that I still want to fix. Like that, it's too dark as it is. I'll lighten that a bit. Darken that a bit. Yeah, I'd fiddle with it forever if I let myself. But yeah, I think that's quite a pleasing little painting. So yeah, the sculpture is on a break. I think it needs a little bit of blue in that handle as well, so that the end doesn't argue as much. No, if I do any more, I'll ruin it. So that's finished. Sign it, put it in the bin with the others. Right, where should I sign it? I think I'll sign it down here, just because that's out of the way. It rather nicely follows the contour of the jug. Well, thank you so much for joining me again. It's been lovely to see everybody here. I hope you've enjoyed watching me muck about with this. Let's have a closer look. I'm seeing new things wrong with it now. But from that angle it's not so bad. Oh no, it's always something to fix. It's so close. It's so close. But I want to get it right. There's a little insight into my world. See, I've signed it and then I've realised cat's looking at me funny. Oh. Yeah, just wanted to get that glow on the heel just right. That seems important to me. Okay, this is roughly where my head was. There's my subject matter, and there's me painting of it. If I zoom right in, refocus that. Yeah, you can. There you are. So you can see there's not an awful lot to it. I quite like that pink in the toe on the sculpture. Yeah. Lovely. On to tension bobbins. Well, as always, this organisation does not tolerate failure, so I'm glad I managed to do a half decent job with that, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you all next week. If you haven't yet put yourself on my mailing list, you can do that on the website. Just click subscribe, put your email in, and you'll get updates which I'm going to start sending in December. You're off again. Like print of the month, which is a fun one to look forward to. So I'm going to be doing, in fact I've got the first one, I'll show it to you. My printer would be furious if he saw me taking this out with the possibility of paint on my hands, but it's only a test one. So that's this is going to be, that's Swanage. I'll show it to you here. So that's my print of crabbing in Swanage. So I'm going to be doing a run of 25 of these. And the first will be available very cheaply, the first 5, and after that they'll go up in price. So if you're a completionist, or if you particularly like that print, you can grab yourself an absolute bargain by being the first to place your order, which will be at the beginning of December, but there'll be an email going out to announce it, which I suppose ought to be at the end of November. So anyway, maybe I'll launch it at the beginning of December, but if you're interested, email me and I'll certainly put one aside for you. So thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time, and have a super week. Toodaloo.